allies in the region and our partners in the region, and we're going to continue to do everything we can to help provide Ukraine the capability to protect its sovereign territory.
Now, translation, Americans will foot the bill again. The Ukrainians know this, and they're gleefully fanning the flames.
Do you believe Russia will invade?
I will not believe that Russian will have a victory. Russian guys also will come back in a
coffins. Now, this type of rhetoric is really foolish. If our so-called European allies are so worried about Russia, why are they buying so much natural gas from them? And why do NATO countries invest so little in their own militaries? The EU's economy is multiples bigger than Russia's. Germany's alone is more than twice as big. So why isn't Germany funneling troops eastward? The answer is they don't really care about Ukraine. Because if Russia is such a menace, why did Biden approve Nordstream 2? Why did Biden whip our own oil and gas industry and drive up the cost of fuel and make Putin even richer? If he were really worried about Russia, he'd want to keep our energy prices low here at home. The truth is, Biden gave Putin a huge amount of leverage, and he's about to use it to embarrass Biden on the world stage, which we told you would happen. Declaring war on America's energy independence will only make us weaker across the board. So right now, Republicans on the Hill should be laying down a marker on this Russia-Ukraine issue. The GOP position should be that we will not support any significant military action against Russia unless, number one, Congress specifically votes to approve it, and number two, we have the new leadership at the Defense Department and the Joint Chiefs that we need. Getting into some big dispute with Russia over Ukraine would be incredibly moronic. Now, I'm sure the Pentagon, the intelligence community, a lot of other so-called allies would love to see the U.S. tied down in Eastern Europe, because such an outcome would also be great for China and its supporters in the American media. But we have to resist any effort to stir up tensions between Russia and the United States now. Our military, our economic, and our national security focus has to be on the danger presented by the CCP. We just can't afford to waste time and resources in a hopeless controversy over Ukraine. If anything, we should be looking for ways to peel Russia away from the CCP. But instead, Russia and China seem to be getting closer under Biden. Well, he's bringing the world together, after all. It's a nightmare scenario for the U.S. In October, it was joint naval drills between our biggest adversaries. The Biden people are clueless, but the American people are not. That same survey I mentioned earlier noted that 52% of Americans see China as the top threat, up from just under 40% in February this year. Just 14% of respondents said Russia was our biggest threat. Now, finally, even if we did have good reasons for a conflict with Russia, which we do not, Biden and his team are totally in over their heads and would certainly fail at any military action, just as they failed in Afghanistan. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, General Milley, and General Austin should have all been booted the day after we lost 13 brave troops guarding the Kabul airport. Of course, no one was held accountable, and they seem to have no regrets, except that, of course, lives were lost. That refusal to take responsibility for failed strategy alone is a disqualifier from future public service. Oh, and let's not forget, another terrifying prospect. America at war or on the brink of war, and then something happens to Biden, making Kamala Harris our commander-in-chief. Imagine that for a moment. The woman can't even keep staff, let alone keep track of military movements in Eastern Europe. Having someone as unqualified and untalented and apparently as unliked as this vice president is itself an ongoing national security threat to America. The Biden people didn't take any of these jobs seriously. It was one big exercise in diversity, equity, and inclusion, not merit. And now America is paying the price. So the bottom line is, Biden's gang, who cannot shoot straight, must not be allowed to squander any American lives or resources